Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your guy Rudy SKC, and welcome to a brand new video. Are you kidding me, guys? I'm gone 2 weeks, and in that 2-week stretch, the Pistons win not one, not two, not three, not five, not seven, but 8 straight games. First time they've done that since 2008. The last time that they won 8 straight games, I could barely talk. I mean, that's back Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton, Tayshaun Prince. Those days, 8 straight games. Okay? Last night, Michigan, the first basketball game I've ever been to, they hit a game-winning 3. Insane. Chrysler's going crazy. And the video that I come back for is a stinker by the Pistons against the Denver Nuggets. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? But yeah, anyways, so the Pistons played the Nuggets at LCA in a game after the game against the Celtics at LCA, which was insane that they beat the defending champs that way. And unfortunately, today was just a stinker. They came out flat. They ended up losing to the Nuggets 134 to 119. To me, there aren't any takeaways from this game. When you have a team that's playing at the high level that the Pistons are, you cannot make takeaways from a loss like this, where it's just like, you know, they were just completely outplayed and out executed. It wasn't like they weren't hustling. It's just they weren't making shots. And the other main piece of this is the fact that Cade just had a stinker. Like, that might be the worst basketball game Cade has played maybe since his rookie year even. And it's not for the reason that you think. It wasn't that his shot wasn't falling. It wasn't shot checking. He wasn't being aggressive, in my opinion, and he wasn't setting the offense up. I actually think that, like, having Dennis Schroeder in the lineup, it really gave Cade kind of a green light to take possessions off, where sometimes you see him, like, there were possessions today where sometimes he's just sitting in the corner. Dennis Schroeder brings the ball up. He's not setting anything up in the offense. And, you know, in games like today where he's not being aggressive enough, in my opinion, that's going to hurt you. And I don't even think until the third quarter, you know, he was pushing it at all. And, you know, he deserves it completely. Like, the last 2 weeks, he's been absolutely outstanding, right? All-star game, coming back after a break. He puts up 29 points and a half, you know, takes the Pistons on the 8-game win streak. You go out, you beat the defending NBA champion. So I'm not blaming Cade at all, but I'm just saying that's what happens when your superstar has a bad game. And it's not his fault completely either, right? The Denver Nuggets played some of the best team defense on Cade that I've seen this entire year. In my opinion, when you talk about the best defenders Cade has faced throughout this year, what are the names that come to mind, right? Obviously, Andrew Nembhard, Indiana Pacers. Every time the Pistons play the Pacers, you know that Cade's going to get one of the best defenders. Andrew Nembhard is one. Other guy, Dyson Daniels. I know Cade, the statistics show that Cade gives Dyson Daniels buckets every time he plays the Hawks. But if you watch the games, you know how good of an effort Dyson Daniels and how hard he makes Cade's job trying to score the ball. In my opinion, I didn't think Christian Braun and Zeke Naji were like playing show-stopping defense on Cade. I think that their team defensive strategy, the way that they weren't doubling Cade off the pick and roll, but they were doubling him on the dribble handoffs, which is something that we hadn't seen. So now when you do that, and instead of it being at the 3-point line, where do the Pistons normally do their DHOs? It's at the elbow. So now when you do that, you shrink the court from here to here. Now when you do that, you're giving Cade less room to work, less room to throw up lobs, less room to find people. And, you know, yeah, he was doing a great job finding Malik Beasley when he was open in the first quarter, Simone Fontecchio a couple times, Tim Hardaway Jr. He was doing a great job finding those guys. But, you know, in those circumstances, when you're playing that kind of defense, it's something that Cade's going to need to adapt to, because they weren't letting him get to his spots as easy enough by playing great team defense. Okay? That's exactly what the rotation's fantastic. So that's huge credit to Denver there. But Cade still could have beaten that defense. Like, let's be 100% real. If Cade played even his C game, you know, the Pistons would be in this game, because one of the biggest growth for the Pistons is, yeah, despite Cade having 1 point at halftime, you're down 5. Okay? You're down 5. And a lot of that, in my opinion, can be attributed down to 3 guys. And really the improvement of 3 guys, in my opinion, that's allowed the Pistons to be at the point where they are. And those 3 guys are, you know, really the bottom 3 down in your starting lineup. That's Asar Thompson, Tobias Harris, and Jalen Durden. The Pistons as a team would not have been able to make this level of progress since January. I mean, yes, obviously, Jaden Ivey goes down. Cade Cunningham improved since January, 100%. Malik Beasley taken it to another level since January. He's been playing great all year. And Tim Hardaway Jr. maybe hasn't played his best ball in a few games. But yeah, outside of those guys, the main reason the Pistons are in this place right now, Ausar Thompson, Tobias Harris, and Jalen Duren. And in my opinion, Ausar Thompson today played an amazing game from the way that he was controlling on the defensive side of the ball. All the deflections. Yeah, there were a couple times where he got a steal and then Westbrook came back and hustled back and got the ball, right? Those possessions are annoying, especially on a fast break, because it's like this moment of, extremely high, competitive, juices are flowing, you had the momentum going, and all of a sudden the other team takes the ball right back and it's all gone. And those things matter. Those things matter when you're on the road playing a team like the Pistons that relies so much on transition opportunities. Those moments matter. So, good job by Westbrook there. Ausar Thompson, it's not just been on the defensive side of the ball. In my opinion, the progression has been on the offensive side of the ball. How aggressive he's being when he's going towards the rim. How great he's been facilitating the ball. He's not making those dumb turnovers that he was making earlier on in the season. You can see he has a much better handle on the ball. And then we'll get to it, but the second best highlight of the night, we'll get to the first in a second. Ausar gets the ball on a fast break, and he puts the ball in. So he has a Denver defender reaching. I think it was DeAndre Jordan. He puts the ball behind his back, okay? And the defender completely falls for it, goes in, Euro step lay. I mean, that was crazy by Ausar Thompson. It's ridiculous the amount of talent that this guy has. And everyone always in the national media, because let's be honest, we haven't had many guys get national attention on the Pistons. If there's someone who has consistently had national attention since he was drafted, it's Ausar. Because, they have the whole twin thing with Ausar and Amen Thompson stuff. Everyone knows who the Thompson twins are. But recently, the entire national attention has been focused on Amen Thompson, and for good reason, obviously, right? He had the game winner earlier this year. I'm pretty sure King of the Fourth Quarter touched on this as well. But Ausar Thompson, this past month and a half, we've talked about this. He's been in double figures, I think, every game except 2 games he's been in double figures. That's how good Ausar Thompson has been for you. The way he's facilitating on offense, it's opened up so many things. And then him off the ball, the way he cuts, man, he's just such a smart basketball player. He knows where to be at the right times. And not to mention, he has a Detroit hustle in him. So Ausar Thompson really taken his game up a notch, in my opinion, and that's allowed the Pistons to be successful having him in the starting lineup. The other guy, Tobias Harris. We talked about this, when, earlier on, and probably in one of my first videos doing recaps, when against the Lakers, and we talked about Tobias potentially being a black hole for this team. I would say since All-Star break, at least, Tobias Harris, he stopped with, a lot of the turnaround faders, the back downs. He's done a lot more operating with the ball off pick and roll, and I think that's helped his game. Tobias, he has been much more efficient this season when he has the ball in his hands off a pick and roll, getting to his spot, pull up mid-range, than he has been in the post shooting that turnaround shot, turnaround fader. So I think that's been huge for Tobias Harris, and his shot in general has just been much better. And I don't know if this is sustainable, but this is who Tobias Harris is. The Tobias you've gotten since All-Star break, the efficient Tobias, the smart Tobias. That's the Tobias Harris you signed up for in the offseason. And if you can continue that, that's something great. I genuinely think that's going to help the Pistons push towards winning a playoff series. So Tobias Harris, he's upped his level, right? Tobias and Ausar, they've upped their levels of play that's allowed the Pistons to be this well. And then the final guy is Jalen Duren, who's just done a complete 180 on his season. Probably, in my opinion, one of the most disappointing guys on the team to start the year compared to where the expectations were. Everything Duren has been doing, and it started, if you noticed, it started on the offensive side of the ball. With him putting more effort on the offensive glass. There are games that I was talking about earlier, maybe in late January, where you could see that, Jalen Duren, he wasn't playing great on defense. He was leaving the stretch 5 wide open for threes. He was not defending well. But he was putting great effort in on the offensive glass, and it wasn't always showing up on the stat sheet. But that's what he was doing. And now you can see that confidence added to his game. Now you can see he's comfortable when he has the ball in his hand. He's comfortable in the post. He's comfortable facilitating, passing the ball. He's been one of the best passing big men in the NBA assist-wise. He ranks in the top 5 over the last 10 games. Jalen Duren has been that good. And to me, when you take a look at Jalen Duren and his improvement, we've always talked about it. If you can't at least hit that 15-foot midi, you need to be an Isaiah Stewart level defender. You need to be a Time Lord Robert Williams level defender on the defense. I mean, you need to be a DeAndre Jordan level defender on the defensive side of the ball. And I wouldn't say Jalen Duren is there yet, but I think the progression in his offensive game has allowed him the right to say he's not going to be that level of defender yet. You see what he's doing in the post with his moves. You know, even that little, like, he has a little, like, I guess, like, there's been a couple times when he's in the post and he just hits a little jumper, right? It's a little, like, 6-7 foot jumper, but he can hit that, right? He can hit that. And then obviously the chemistry with Cade off the ball, getting those lobs in. I mean, that's the progression from Duren that we wanted to see compared to last offseason, and you're seeing that now. So in my opinion, I was a guy who was saying, you know what, if it's not working at the trade deadline, there's some guy that you think can really go out and help you. If there's a young guy you want to put into a deal, it's Jalen Duren. I don't think you can say that anymore. Because with this progression, Jalen Duren has earned the right to give himself an offseason to turn into one of the top 12, 13 centers in this league. He has earned the right to an offseason to do that, okay? So, to me, those three guys, the impact that those three guys have had on the starting lineup has been absolutely exemplified over these last 5 games in terms of their improvement. So, when you have those guys going, the only thing that can stop you from winning a game against, the best team in the NBA is your best player having a complete stinker, one of his worst games as a professional. That guys, I'll be honest, I've maybe except 1 or 2 or 3, I've basically seen every Cade Cunningham game since he's been on the Pistons. This was one of the worst in terms of the mental side of the game, in my opinion, that I've seen from Cade. I mean, I've seen him have like horrible shooting nights, right? But like that combined with him just not being aggressive enough, him not being able to get to his spots. It's the first time I've seen it. I saw someone on Twitter saying that, Cade, this is a welcome to playoff defense. Like, dude, if you say that, you have not been watching the Pistons for the last 2.5 months. Cade has been getting playoff defense. He's been getting hedged off the ball. They've thrown box and ones at Cade. I mean, the fact that he's been doing what he's doing with that level of defense without really a second star since Jaden Ivey went down, that should be applauded. And you can't say that this is, Cade Cunningham, he's not going to be able to play against playoff defenses. We've talked about it. He's played in playoff level games against the Knicks, against the Pacers, against the Magic. We've seen that from Cade. So I don't want to get in this whole argument of, it's one bad game, let's overreact. And I saw the same thing happen with Dylan Larkin the other day where people were like, it was yesterday. Todd McClellan calls him out. Larks has a bad game. And you see people immediately after the guy was playing 1C for Team USA, Larkin's a 2C. I cannot understand that, okay? So when you win 8 straight games, you're due for a stinker, guys. I mean, it might be a secret to some of you, but you're due for a stinker. And that's what happened. I'm not worried in the slightest for this game. Now, one thing I will say I walk away from this game from that I'm extremely concerned about, Little Caesars Arena. I hear Nikola Jokic MVP chance when he's at the free throw line. Are you guys kidding me? I will say this, I'll stake my heart out and say this. Detroit has the best fan base in sports. I don't care if it's, football, basketball, hockey, baseball. We have the best fan base in professional sports. You cannot let a road team come and have fans in the arena chanting MVP for a player that is not Cade Cunningham ever again. I never want to see that again at Little Caesars Arena. If you're chanting MVP for the other player's team, please kindly escort yourself out of LCA. I never want to see that again. That was distasteful. And you saw it started, and then you could see like other Pistons fans in the arena phase it out with a boo. But for that to even start is ridiculous to me. We have to do a better job controlling that in the arena. I mean, I wasn't even pissed off about the Jared Goff chance as much I'm pissed off about Nikola Jokic getting MVP chance at LCA. Like, seriously, guys, you gotta fix that. You have to fix that. Okay, if it comes playoff time, man, people have been saying that, they've been saying that LCA, it's not the Palace, right? Because you have all the fair weather fans starting to come back out of the bushes now, and they're heading back to the arena. Oh yeah, it's nothing compared to the Palace, and they have an argument. they have an argument there because, I mean, having your arena being called the Palace of Auburn Hills, it's just, I mean, there's nothing that could have beaten that. Yeah, obviously I'm glad the stadium's in downtown Detroit now, right? But that has aura to it. The Palace of Auburn Hills, definitely it has aura to it. So we want to make out, like, my thing with LCA is, yeah, you haven't seen how great LCA can be, really, because the Pistons and Red Wings have sucked since the arena has been constructed. So for me, when I hear stuff like that, I'm like, guys, this is on you. You have to make this the hardest place for road teams to come and play into. It cannot be a friendly environment for Nikola Jokic to come in and get MVP chance. And I could not stand that. And Jamal Murray, again, he had a great game today. I genuinely think Jamal Murray is the most underrated player in the NBA. I will say that. I mean, I don't think he has a single All-Star appearance. And the fact that the guy, he's a genuine second option for a championship team. We've seen him go, mano a mano against Donovan Mitchell in the playoffs, dropping 40, 50, 60 points against Donnie Mitch. He's the most underrated player in the NBA, and I will not stop saying that. That's a position that I've always held. So for the Pistons, I'm not worried at this game at all, the result of the game. You were due to have one of those. It doesn't hurt your positioning in the East. You're well ahead of the other teams, the Magic and I think the Hawks 6th place in the Eastern Conference. So you're only going to continue to climb. I don't worry about this game. You have a game against Brooklyn tomorrow where you're going to go out and I'm telling you guys right now, if the Nets win tomorrow and I come back, you guys can 100% blame that loss on me. But the Pistons are going to cakewalk through the Nets tomorrow. I mean, it's about I will set the over under, or I'll set the spread at -15. I mean, that's how confident I am. So that's going to be just a throwaway game in my head. You're not going to learn. It'll be a good chance for some highlights. Which, by the way, I said I mentioned that Asar had the second best highlight of the game. Cade had a stinker, but he also had one of the best highlights of his career today. I mean, he steals the ball from Nikola Jokic, and then against Zeke, he just yams him down with authority. So that was cool. If you're gonna lose a game, at least let me lose a game where I'm entertained by Asar and Cade, right? Where they have two of the best plays of the season. At least be that the game that you guys have a stinker. And so I'm happy with that. But yeah, tomorrow we're coming out against the Nets, about to mollywop them. I'm calling it now. I'm never this overconfident before games, but you're going against a team that's not trying at the game of basketball, and it's kind of hard to lose. So hopefully that goes well for the Pistons. I'll be back, obviously Michigan basketball recaps for sure. That's going to continue. And so yeah, guys, until then, do not let Nikola Jokic MVP chance come back to LCA. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. So with that being said, guys, I'll catch you next time. Peace.